Today I'm going for our first run in the Adidas Adizero Pro.
I wish I had the guts to start a conversation with someone. Just be who I am, not care so much about first impressions. So, cause I got a feeling that it could be great. Skip all the acts, not playing games. Maybe reveal it, they ring me and tell you my name. Yeah, I just wanna call my friends and see what they're doing tonight. It doesn't have to be so special. I try to be myself. You do the same and we'll be alright. Cause this pressure's really bringing me down. Cause I just wanna call my friends and see what they're doing tonight. It doesn't have to be so special. I try to be myself. You do the same and we'll be alright. Cause this pressure's really bringing me down.
10.99 miles, 7 minutes, 40 seconds per mile, 155 beats per minute on average for today's run, just beating out the storm, getting in that first run in the Adidas Adizero Pro, a shoe that I've been waiting for several months now with eager anticipation. But before we get to whether or not I think this is going to be your next marathon super shoe, let's go over to some disclosures. This is a pair of shoes that I purchased with my own money. No one's going to be reimbursing me for the purchase price. No one sent it to me. No one's paying me to make this video. And no one's going to get a chance to preview my thoughts or footage before you guys get a chance to see this video on YouTube. Now, with the disclosures out of the way, let's talk about the Adizero Pro. Now, to make things clear, this is not the Adizero Adios Pro, which was just recently announced, which is another marathon super shoe. This is the Adizero Pro that people have been talking about for a long time. It was supposed to come out earlier this year, but with everything that happened, lots of different release schedules got pushed back, and it's only come out to us now. Although maybe it was originally only supposed to come out now. But in either event, this color is available now from certain retailers. There's another colorway that looks a lot more like this SL20 that I have, kind of like the SL20 that I have that's going to be released even later. But this is the one that I was able to get my hands on now. And it's an interesting shoe, but I will cut to the chase. This, I do not think, is the marathon super shoe that you are looking for. Let's get into some of the basics of what we have here. Up top, we've got Adidas' Celermesh, which is basically like a see-through material, a webbing almost that goes on top of the shoe. Very breathable. You can pretty much see right through it. Very comfortable to wear as well. Lots of lockdown options for you. There's even a little bit of padding on the back of the heel on this part here, which is not a heel flare, but just like a little heel something here that cups around each side of the Achilles, and very minimal tongue, very much like a soccer cleat that you have in the upper. The fit was really great, just like all the Adios shoes that I've ever worn. Very dialed in, lots of lacing options. This one takes that lacing options to like an extreme, to a pro level, if you will. And there's like Swiss cheese over here on the sides. It's hard to see on camera, but I've got some close-up shots to it where you could see like you can relace this any way you want depending on what kind of fit you want dialed in. I don't even know where to begin with these, but the thing is, don't worry, if you have no idea what to do with those, it's fine because the fit on those laces is probably going to be excellent for you. It has been for me for a lot of the Adidas racing shoes and running shoes, and that continues with this. So the upper is just absolutely fantastic. The real story in this shoe is what's going on in the midsole. So in the midsole, we have Lightstrike, which is their new lighter foam that they've introduced. Well, they started introducing it last year with a modified version of the Boston 8, but we're seeing it in all the Adidas shoes, running shoes for this year, or at least a vast majority of them for this year. And we've got a lot of it, more than I've seen in any other Adidas shoe so far this year, and an ample amount of boost. I really wasn't expecting that. So it ends up being a little bit of a heavy shoe. 8.3 ounces is the stated weight for this size 9, and 22 millimeters of stack height. So it makes it pretty tall in the forefoot with a 10 millimeter drop, which I think feels pretty good for the way the shoe is all laid out. And in between the top of the Lightstrike and the sock liner, so on top of the midsole foam is what they're calling their Carbitex carbon fiber plate. I'm not sure if it's a full length plate or not. I'll have to look into it a little bit further, but there is carbon in here for that extra rigidity, which equals, once it's loaded, spring back and propulsion. On the bottom, we've got Continental Rubber in an interesting pattern that in terms of these little like nubbins. I don't know if they're rubber or TPU or what they are, but traction was really good on this shoe. I ran mostly road miles for today, but the area that I'm running here in Guttenberg, Iowa, sometimes I'm on the side of the road where it's like crushed limestone, like kind of like a dirt road type surface. No issues with that at all. The grip is just absolutely fantastic, as you would expect from an Adidas shoe that's co-branded with that Continental or Rubber. Got some Adiwear in the back here, which they say is for just extra protection in case you're crashing in on the heel a little bit, so you can protect that boost. So with all that said, Running Warehouse calls this the most, at least on their website for now, and I think they made that copy before the Adizero Adios Pro, not the Adizero Pro that this is, was announced. They call it the most advanced marathon racing shoe to date from Adidas. Does it live up to that? I really don't think so. I previewed earlier in the video that this is not the racing shoe that you're looking for. And I think the main reason for that is it doesn't go far enough. It looks wild. The styling is intense. This Lightstrike coloring here, I didn't realize it from some of the pictures, but it's gold up in the front and then it fades to a white and then you get to the boost in the back. And then with this kind of like orangish pink and the gold up front, it looks like it's pink and rose gold. It's kind of what's going on in the shoe. The colors actually are really working, but it's much more gold. It's almost like, it's like my girls put nail polish on the front of the shoe, is the way that it's looking, the way that this foam is painted. So the colors are great. The execution maybe not so great. That's literally all cosmetic. What did it feel like to run in? I felt like the amount of boost in the heel is really nice. Maybe a little bit out of place for something that's supposed to be my marathon racer though. Today's run was 11 miles total, just shy of 11 miles, but about 11 miles total with 2 by 3 mile increments at about marathon heart rate effort. So getting moving in there in the paces that for me is what this shoe is intended for. And what it felt like was I didn't really notice too much of the boost here. I only noticed it on my recovery portions. So then there, it was really nice. But in terms of the Lightstrike in the midfoot, I felt like there was a decent amount. I actually wouldn't have minded if there were a little bit more or if the Lightstrike were formulated to be just a little bit squishier, because there's carbon in this shoe too. So the fact that I think that this Lightstrike has not been altered or is very similar to the other compositions of Lightstrike that I've experienced in the Adios 5 and in the Boston 9. I think that the stiffness of the Lightstrike is making it so that it muddles the sensation of the carbon. In other words, it felt like a couple of other shoes that I've run in this year with carbon fiber plates that I felt like weren't carbony enough. It's almost as if it's not there. So if you're looking for like a strong carbon fiber sensation in the shoe, then you're not going to get it here. In contrast, if you're one of those people that puts on some of the carbon fiber racers and you're like, this is too prominent, it feels awkward, it's jarring, it's digging into the bottom of my foot. Some people have that experience with carbon fiber plated shoes. This might be the exact option that you are looking for. But for me, what I like to feel in a carbon fiber plated shoe is a nice squish when I land, so that way during the later miles of a marathon, my legs aren't as beat up. And I want to be able to feel that carbon fiber plate as I load it spring back so that it picks me up out of that cushion, that softness that was in there. So the way I like to think of it is like, imagine you are like a stuntman falling into like a big giant like air mat, right? Getting out of that thing is like awkward and you're like kind of crawling around and rolling to get out of it like an adult trying to get out of a bounce house. But imagine if there was something that like could just like push you out of it a little bit. That's what I'm really looking for when I'm thinking about a carbon fiber plate, to put in kind of like in ridiculous terms. But hopefully that gives you kind of a visual of what I'm hoping for, or what I'm looking for when I think about a marathon carbon plated shoe. So that way I can have the best of both worlds, something that will feel really nice and plush and comfortable in mile 20 through 26, but also something that's gonna not impose any sort of speed penalty for me, so I can still feel like I can move fast. I don't need it to make me feel like I'm faster than I am. Some shoes are like that, and that's cool, that's pretty exciting. But what I really want is just to be able to feel fast, but also not feel beat up. My feet aren't the strongest feet. I've kind of always been that way, even after high mileage weeks, lots of intensity. My feet just are always gonna be that way, I think. And I need something that can give me a little bit more protection in that section right here, so that way I can get through those later miles. This shoe didn't quite give me that. I wanted a little bit more from it. So like while it was really exciting, I felt like there was just, it's closer, but it's not it. There were times where I was able to kind of lock in and just get into a flow with this shoe, and those moments were really nice, and I feel like I had effortless miles for those times where I was able to lock in, but it took quite a bit of effort to kind of like get there, and I couldn't really get there as much or as easily as I wanted to. So maybe with some finesse, some training, some more time with this shoe, I could get there more readily and really lock in on a pace. So maybe it's not the shoe's fault, maybe it's more me. Certainly a possibility there. But for me, at least initially after this first run, I'm not sure this is the marathon super shoe that I've really been waiting all summer for. It's a little bit of a letdown, unfortunately. I really wanted to love this shoe. I feel like some of the Adidas designs this year are just absolutely insanely good. I really do like Lightstrike as a midsole foam. I'm really excited that they're rolling it out so broadly across their product line, and I had such high hopes for this shoe. And maybe that's really the biggest disappointment of it, is my expectations. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. But I think even extracting all that out, pulling all that out there, I still just don't think that this shoe quite measures up to some of its competitors that are out there on the market in terms of being a marathon racer. We'll see. I'll still run in it a lot more. Stay tuned, because I'm going to be comparing it to the SL20. I'm going to be comparing it to the Boston 9 and the Adios 5. We'll do a full kind of review of the lineup once I can get my hands, hopefully soon, on the Adizero Adios Pro, which is, I guess, the next version of the most advanced marathon racing shoe that Adidas has ever made, which is also coming out in the same year, maybe the same month even as the previous most advanced marathon racing shoe Adidas has ever made. So we'll take a look at all those. Stay tuned for all that. If you have any questions about this shoe or any of the other shoes that I mentioned already, feel free to put them in the comments. I'd love to keep talking to you guys about it down there. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks for making it all the way to the end of the video. Hopefully you all are staying safe out there on your runs, and I will see you in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?